Hi, we're Amy and Tim with Go With Less. We've been traveling around Europe all summer and we wanted to share some of the most exciting things that we did in each city. If you're traveling to any of these cities, I hope that you'll take some of our suggestions.
So the first city and what we're going to talk about today is Krakow, Poland. And so our flight was delayed by a whole day getting there, so we spent, how long, Amy, there?
2.5 days.
2.5 days.
We were
in Krakow,
supposed to spend
Poland.
3.5 days, so only 2.5 days, and things had to get cut, obviously, when that's all you had. We also, just a heads up, we are traveling on a big budget. So Krakow, Poland was a very affordable city.
A great place for a budget traveler.
On the first full day of our vacation, I looked at Tim and said, I think this is going to be my favorite city of the entire trip because, first of all, it was by far the cheapest, but it's beautiful. There's tons of history, and it is extremely affordable. So this is a great option if you are visiting Krakow, Poland. If you're considering where to visit in the world, Krakow, Poland.
So we're going to provide some tips.
If you're visiting Krakow, you need to get to Auschwitz. Hopefully this is on your radar. If you have seen all of the movies and documentaries, you've read the books, you've seen the PBS specials, you've seen TV programs, you've read everything, it doesn't compare to actually being there. We took a Viator tour, and it was a little bit tricky because it was a full day tour out of the city. So when we only had a couple days in Poland just to even start, before we even lost a day with our trip, we realized that we couldn't be out of the city for 2 days when we only had 3.5 days in the city. So we took a Viator tour that was half a day in Auschwitz, and then the little private van took us to the salt mines, which Tim is going to talk about next. But I'm going to talk about Auschwitz. So all kids in Germany and Poland visit Auschwitz in high school. Like I said, this is not something you probably wouldn't want to bring anybody here unless they are at high school age, because it is very difficult. And this is also something that ideally you're not going to be planning other things that day. So we did, but that wouldn't have been ideal, and we knew that up front. So please make your way there. It's a life-changing experience and something I believe everybody should visit if they're in that area, and they should probably make a visit there to see it.
So something else we wanted to mention are some details about the Viator trip that we chose to take to get to Auschwitz. So for the van ride to Auschwitz, the guided tour at Auschwitz, the guided tour at the salt mines, entrance fees at Auschwitz, entrance fees at the salt mines, as well as the lunch that they provided, as well as a tip which we paid on top of the Viator fee, all in price was $90 per person. So we felt like that was a good value. However, we would recommend that you do the Auschwitz separate from the salt mines, simply because we believe that Auschwitz deserves its own time. So it's sort of, for us, we had to squeeze it into one day, and it did work with our day. However, we wouldn't recommend it. So
just a heads up, the link is going to be below.
That's right. The link will be below in the notes for the Viator tour that we happen to take. And so with the salt mines, we just wanted to bring up a few things about them. So number one, if you have mobility issues, you're probably not going to want to go to the salt mines. It's 380 steps to get down into the mines. Then there's another 800 steps of walking in the mines, and there's even steps within the mine. So I don't believe that you could even get down in there and walk. Even if they took you down the elevator, you'd be challenged getting around the mines. Also, the tour that we took was 2 hours. We don't know if there are any other options in terms of tours, but 2 hours was too long to be in the mines. So they easily could have done the same tour in an hour, and it would have given you everything you need to see. They were amazing to see, so we're suggesting you definitely do the mines. Also, in terms of getting out to the mines, there's a nice park there. There's also a small community there. And so I would just take public transportation from Krakow out to the mines, pay the entrance fee at the mines, and have a nice little picnic lunch there at the mines. So, and that'd make for a great day out of Krakow.
I booked us on 3 walking tours through the company Free Walking Tour. You can find that they are in many cities. We obviously use the Krakow version. And so all of their tours aren't free, just a heads up, but they did offer 2 really great free tours that we took full advantage of. An Old Town tour, which we took probably 2 hours after we got into our Airbnb and headed immediately out on 37 hours of wide awake on the airplane. And then we took a Jewish ghetto tour, which was also very impactful. So you saw the walls of the Jewish ghetto. You saw the temples. You saw all sorts of things. Both of them were highly recommended, and for both of those they were free walking tours, and we did just pay a gratuity to the tour guide. The thing that we paid for on the free walking tours was one of our biggest highlights of our whole trip, I'm going to say, and that was our food walking tour.
Yeah, definitely. This was a great thing to do. So it was a very economical food tour as well.
It was $16 a person, which is insane.
For a food tour, that is a great deal. And so also it wraps up with some vodka. They said we were going to get 5 shots of vodka. We had 5 tastes of vodka, not 5 shots of vodka.
I don't like vodka at all. I had 4 of them. I told Tim he could have all of mine. I drank 4 of them. Yeah.
So, but that was a great, great thing. So even if you didn't do the other free tours, the free tour provided paid for tour that's $16. That was a great deal. So I would suggest you do that.
We did maybe 10, 15 different tastes of food. So it was like any other. We've done a whole bunch of food tours in our past. None of them have been cheaper than maybe $50. And so $16 was almost giving it to us. So yeah, that was highly, highly, highly recommended.
Definitely. Oskar Schindler's factory in Krakow, which is a little bit out of the main tourist area within town, has been turned into a museum. It's a World War II museum. So the museum starts a little bit before World War II and then goes until a little bit after World War II. There is, since it is and by the way, this Oskar Schindler, this is the guy, Oskar Schindler from Schindler's List, the movie, the Steven Spielberg movie. And so there's a little bit of history of Oskar Schindler, but it's primarily World War II facts. This was a great museum.
In Krakow.
In Krakow.
Specific
to
life
Krakow.
in
What
Krakow.
was life like in Krakow during World War II and a little before World War II? And it was a great experience. So we happened to, as we entered the museum, we tagged along with an English-speaking tour. So I think we got a little elevated experience because we tagged along with this group of folks. However, it was a fantastic thing to do, and it was only $6.50 for an entry fee to get in the museum per person. And it was definitely something you might want to do, or you would want to do.
Definitely something you might want to do.
Something you definitely might want to do. Something you definitely would want to do if you're in Krakow.
Let's talk food in Krakow. Our food walking tour was we didn't mention that the food was all delicious. Every single thing we had was delicious. We had 15 different tastes. Actually, it was like, I don't know, it was like 10 different stops. Some of the stops had many different samples. Everything we ate was completely delicious. So we really enjoyed the food in Poland. However, we did go to our own place for pierogies in Old Town. I thought I did my research and found a good place. They were just so-so. So we want to come back. We want to have somebody from the area bring us to really good pierogies. Fortunately, we could always go back on the food walking tour, I guess. But where we did go was something that felt kind of like a French cafe that I loved so much. We went for breakfast. It's called Charlotte, and it's in Old Town. It's very charming. They are open from breakfast through dinner. They have a nice patio. They have a cool setup inside. This was just a great spot and extremely affordable, which I'll tell you in just a moment. But for breakfast, we had these little open-faced tartine sandwiches, and I had one that was goat cheese with strawberries and a little mashed lettuce with honey on a nice bread. It was so delicious that we went back for dinner so I could have the exact same thing on our last night. And these amazing, huge, it was like this, it was a dinner and it was a big breakfast. And it was not even $3 for each tartine. So go check out Charlotte. I'll put links to everything down below.
So I'm not typically a sweets person. I love a good sweet. However, it's not going to be the first thing that's going to pop up on my radar when we're looking for something to get a snack, etc. However, the pierogies that we had, so I think we had them 2 different times, and both times when we had a mixed bag of pierogies, the sweet ones were my favorite, which I think when you think of a pierogi as a traditional dish, savory is what comes to mind, not sweets. However, that was our favorite. And then ice cream. So there was lots of delicious ice cream that we had while we were in Krakow. Every place we had it, it was delicious. I'm sure there are places that are better than others. However, it was very inexpensive. I think we paid for a cone that was a fancier cone, not a basic cone. I think it was dipped or something like that. And a scoop of ice cream, we paid 95 cents. And so I would encourage you to seek out great ice cream. You will find it easily in Krakow.
Walking around Old Town was a no-brainer. This is a beautiful, beautiful part of the world, and the main square was absolutely gorgeous. It's like a kind of a good people watching place. It's just something to experience walking up and down the streets. It's everything.
And also day and night, and so they're different experiences. So you want to go in the day, and you also want to go at night because they are completely different experiences.
Yeah, and the cloth hall is mentioned as a big site. It's not something, the outside is beautiful, certainly, and it anchors a lot of Old Town, but what's inside is mostly touristy stuff, so you don't have to think about spending a lot of time in the cloth hall, although we have been told that there is a museum in the basement that is a fabulous museum. We didn't get to go to that. Also, we didn't get to go to Wawel Castle because with our day lost, Wawel Castle had to go, so unfortunately we were sorry to see that, but yeah.
But with the free walking tour, we did get to tour the grounds of Wawel Castle, so we got to see a tiny bit of it, and it was an amazing thing to see.
It was. So if we had an extra day, we would have gone there, and we probably would have broken up our Auschwitz salt mines piece.
So the first thing that we did when we showed up in Krakow is try and find internet service. I found it. This was the cheapest internet I've ever experienced in my life. I found a SIM card from Orange Wireless. 100 gig of data for $1.35 is what we paid for this SIM card. So I think this, this was far and away the best deal I found on the internet while we've been here in Europe. The only problem is it only worked in Poland, and so it probably would have worked throughout Poland, but it didn't work in the rest of our trip. So we didn't get to take advantage of that 100 gig of data, but by golly, it was a great deal.
We're tempted to go back for a month just to do it.
That's right.
So indeed, Krakow was my favorite city of our big, giant 6 cities that we visited. It was hard to beat. The affordability combined with the beauty and all that history, it made for like a trifecta.
It was an amazing experience, and we will definitely be back in Krakow. We'll definitely be back in Poland. So the affordability, as Amy's already said, was unbeatable. So it was a great place to visit.
We can't wait to go back.
We can't wait to go back.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if you like this, so a couple quickie things to wrap up. If you like the video, please give a thumbs up. Please subscribe down below. We want comments. Have you been to Krakow, and do you have pierogi places that we can visit on our next trip? Do you have favorite ice cream places? What did we miss? So we're going to be going back again at some point. I know we missed stuff, so we want to hear about it. If you're going to, if you know friends who are going to Krakow, please share this on your social media with them. We wish we would have had this sort of thing when we were planning our trip. And our next city that we're going to be talking about is Budapest. So please stay tuned. We appreciate you watching. Thank you.